All right, everyone. Welcome to Tiny Table Radio Talks. This is Cory. I'm here with my friend Siljan, also known as Corazon de Melon. He's a DJ and producer based out of Brooklyn, New York as well, and he's about to do a Tiny Table Radio set here in our house. So, Siljan, thanks for joining today, man. I'm really
Thank you
glad to
for
have you.
having me, Cory. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, just a few quick questions for you because I'm curious myself. I don't know too much about you. I know we connected first. What was it? A couple of years ago, we set
Almost
up
four
a.
years now.
Yeah,
Think
wow.
about it. Well, maybe two. Yeah, a few years ago.
Yeah,
Right
we
after the pandemic.
helped set up a Hot Honey Sunday,
Hot
right?
Honey Sundays
Yeah,
at the very
that's
beginning.
right. And then been following each other ever since on Instagram, and reached out, and here you are.
Here we
So
are.
glad to hear it. But I'm very curious about your backstory, about how you got started in DJing and producing. How long have you been doing it? What
Sure.
inspired you? Tell me about that.
Sure. So I started DJing probably around 2006. It was after high school. I moved to New York City. I grew up in the Dominican Republic. That's where I started raving in high school and getting to know that type of culture. Prior to that, I was playing in bands, playing as a drummer. So yeah, in New York City, I came to study sound engineering, and I bought my first decks, and I taught myself how to DJ, and did that for many years. And I think it was about roughly 7 years after that is when I started to produce. I had gone back to the Dominican Republic, and my really good friend, who's still out there, Arialdo Ape, shout out to him, um, put Ableton in front of me for the first time, and like the rest is history.
Yeah,
Ever since then, I haven't looked back.
nice. Love that. Um, and so you've been producing on Ableton your whole time.
Yeah, Ableton the whole
What
time.
what about it? Tell me about your creative process there. Whether that's when you're producing, and then how you take that into your sets and DJing. Like,
Sure. So for production, I mean, Ableton is my DAW of choice, and I
same.
I usually have like two different starting points, right? Could be with the MPC as well. I just recently got an MPC, so I'm
Okay.
changing the workflow just a little bit.
All right.
But with the MPC, I might start a beat on
Mhm.
that, and just like really work on drums, and then bring it over to Ableton and try to match something up to that. Or I could also find a sample that's very inspiring. There'll be a piece of music that I either want to sample that piece of music, or I want to replicate what it was that I just heard,
Mhm.
or just inspires me to do something else, you know?
Yeah.
But I like the process of making music. I believe that the process of making art is more important than the final thing itself.
Hmm.
You know, I have so much stuff that isn't actually out yet.
Yeah.
But things have been going out, and things have been going kind of well these last couple of years. So I'm very
Nice.
grateful for everything that's happening.
Yeah. I mean, there's something about the creative process that's really unique, and something I had to overcome at least was trying to perfect something before just sharing it with people, putting it out in the world. So
Definitely.
there's a
Definitely.
lot. I feel you with having a lot of stuff kind of that you've worked through, but enjoying that process, and
Totally.
that's really kind of the point of being an artist, right?
Yeah, man. Keep on a lookout. I got a couple things down the pipeline that are coming through. This year's been a really good year. I had a release on Basement Discos. It's this
Nice.
Spanish label, whole umbrella. They have a whole bunch of labels. I put out on two of their labels. One of the tracks, Whose Piano Is This, been doing really great, being charted, getting some replays and stuff like that, and it's just inspiring me to keep on going. So I'm really looking
Nice.
forward to it.
Nice. So you've got that coming out, but is there a genre or an artist that's been catching your ear lately?
Yeah, this year I discovered an artist and producer, mix engineer. His name is Saint David. He's from
Okay.
Bari, Italy,
Okay.
and his whole crew out there. These guys. So I'm like really into the whole '90s house. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to call it revival. It's always been there, but
Yeah.
sonically, you've been hearing it more than not. All the genres have been going backwards now lately, like
Right.
the trance resurgence, like
Hmm.
techno. So for me specifically, house is what I'm rooted in. I'm really vibing old school house, like US garage, a little UK garage, nothing too skippy. Hey buddy. Hey. Um and yeah, this guy's been a real big inspiration to me. That's kind of what I'm trying to more or less curate my sound, although not trying to limit myself to anything. But house all day, every day. House head.
Househead. Same. Cool. So, just quick question. You talked about the Akai.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the piece of gear that you're most into right now, or is there something else you just like, I can't live without this?
Right now, it's the MPC. I'm still really new to it. I gotta admit, I do have a couple drum machines and I have a 303. I'm not a huge hardware head because
Yeah.
most of what I've done has been on Ableton. So
Mhm.
I'm just trying to connect all those dots together. But the MPC, the minute I got it, I'm like, I don't know how I could live without this one. Like this is like,
Yeah.
if I really wanted to go down that hole, I could make that the whole brain of the operation and not
Sure.
even mess with Ableton at all.
Yep.
But it's just a different beast. It's just a tactile feeling to making music and
Mhm.
sampling, and it's just giving me a different perspective. And I'd say fresh air because like after 10 years of making music, like you got to switch it up from time to time,
Sure.
not fall into your own habits.
Yeah. Constantly try and learn something new.
Cory, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When are you gonna do another coffee review?
Oh, that's a great question. So I've been thinking about how to switch that up a little bit. What do you want, boy? Parker's very interested in being part of this.
Yeah, man.
I should do one soon again. I kind of stopped doing them because I was in transition of moving back up here full time. I was splitting time between here and Austin, but also I kind of wanted to mix it up and actually go into a coffee shop and buy a coffee and then see how far along I could get in making a new track while drinking the coffee, as kind of mixing up the content
Interesting.
style.
Nice. Like
What do you think about that?
like an against the clock, against the cup,
Yeah.
you could call it.
What do you think?
That's
Should I try
great.
that?
You should do it.
Do you have any coffee shops you recommend?
We do. We have coffee shops all over Bushwick.
Oh, trust me, I know. Say is one of my favorites.
Yes, yes.
I love
Great
Say.
one. Awesome.
Cool. Well, I, for one, am looking forward to this Tiny
too.
Table Radio set of yours today. I appreciate you telling me a bit more about your journey through producing, through house music. And thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Corazon
Appreciate
de
you.
Melon. Appreciate
See
it.
ya.
Yep.